Participation trophies have been the demise of modern America. When something becomes oversaturated, nobody wants it anymore. Why win when you're going to get rewarded either way? Why succeed when the comfort of failing is warmer than the lone cold of success? They say it gets lonely at the top. Well, that's why there's only one number one. On this episode, we're going to talk about the dangers of glorifying quitters. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Solutions Podcast. Dr. Ramsey coming to you all the way from Erbil, Iraq, or as the locals would say, Kurdistan. Now, let's talk about this one real quick. I just want to get on it just a little bit, right? So most people have never even heard of Kurdistan. Now, myself, when I first got here, I thought I was in Iraq, and the locals would tell me, no, this is Kurdistan. But then I went on Google, and everything about Erbil says Iraq. Now, it's crazy, right? Because we sit back and think about history, and we only know what we know or what is shown in some books. And really, for my experience on the Western Hemisphere, what is shown and what is said by Western books. Ask anybody of the locals here, and they will not say they're Iraqish, they're Kurdish. And they will not say this is Iraq, it's Kurdistan. Now, just a little bit of food for thought, right? Think about the situation that's going on with Palestine and Israel. I guarantee you, both of them have different ideas of what the same thing is. And it's crazy. And who are we to believe one or the other? How do we know what is what? I don't know. Now, think about it. Is it Ukraine? Or is it Western Russia? I don't know. It's just something that came to my mind because I got the opportunity to go out and talk to some of the local people in this area, and I was surprised by what they were saying, and it is very different than the rest of Iraq, I will say that. So they believe it's Kurdistan, and I believe them. Only history will tell, because it does worry me, right? Because if we go now 10, 20, 30 years into the future, will anybody even know that Kurdistan existed? Or is something going to happen that's going to make them go away like everything else? Hopefully not. But we will see. Now let's get back on topic. So where did I get the idea for this episode? Well, just like many of you, I get bored as well. And I can't just be super motivational robot all the time, especially when I'm missing my audience. I don't have y'all in front of me all the time, or I don't have a lot of people in front of me all the time. In the current role that I'm playing, let's just say it's a very lonely role. So I went down the doom scrolling rabbit hole. Now, what does that mean? What does doom scrolling mean? Well, I'm glad you asked, you older millennials. It means wasting your time scrolling through social media. Now, I want to put this out there. This is not a shot at you. I am one of us too, okay? I'm also older and don't fully understand everything. But now there's a reason why I have to use these nice, new, brand new, hip terms. It's because I also have to connect with the next generation, because if we're not moving forward, we're staying stagnant. And that's just not what we do here. Also, because if we're not training our replacements will replace us because they do not see value in us. So back to my doom scrolling. While I was going through the interweb, I ran into a video of a Marine, and he was saying the following statement: I feel like y'all like to glorify quitters. And then he proceeded to give all the reasons that he feels he needed to say to validate that statement. Now, that took me back to the early years of my career, because when I first started my career, God forbid you failed. God forbid you didn't meet the standard. God forbid you didn't give it your all. And God forbid you would quit. You were more afraid to do any of those things than losing life itself. And why was that? Because the people around you would make your life a living hell for doing any of those things. One thing that I always tell people, which is probably why I lose a lot of people in my life, to be 100% honest, is that I will never be that friend you want, but I will be that friend you need. I will say that again. I will not be that friend you want, but I will be that friend you need. I will be that person to you that made my life a living hell if I ever thought of giving it anything less than 100%. Because those experiences, I became that person that I am today. I became that person that is hyper competitive, became that person that does not want to have any trash tied to his name, became that person that is not failing any test, is not failing any schools. And if I'm competing against you in anything, even though you might have the experience and the upper hand in every way, shape, or form, I guarantee you, you will never forget that match. But I need to give credit where credit is due. This mentality did not just come from my early career and the abuses of the early days of the Army. Nope. This actually started way, way, way back then with my extended family, the Desert Dragons. This was my old karate school. And everybody thinks karate is just kids screaming and looking cute in uniform. But I can tell you this, that's not the way that we did it. Every gym, every school knew if we were coming, they better have their mouthpiece in and it better be tight. Their gear better be on point and they better be ready to fight. Because I am telling you, we were all obsessed with winning. We would train before class, after class, on the weekends, and hung out, and we would check each other in private, of course. We wouldn't let other people see our internal conflicts, but we would check each other and we would never let each other slip. We were all animals, but in a good way. But without those experiences, I have zero clue where I would be. Now, today, I don't really see much of that. And I believe that that's probably where that individual was coming from, because he did look about my age. And if you go on my social media, you will see the post, because I'm going to post the video that I stitched on that, okay? But enough about him. Let's talk about me. Let me get into a personal example. Now that I'm an adult, I procreated, right? Now, I feel that I'm paying for some of the mistakes that I've done in my early life because I only had girls, but I procreated. Now, well, me, I grew up doing fight sports, which are pretty much individual sports where the sole outcome of the event is 100% on me. Now, my entanglement, shout out to my better half, she grew up doing team sports, and one of these was soccer. So when our oldest became of age and had the opportunity, we also put her in soccer. Now, this first game came, they played, they lost. But somehow, my little mini-me thought that she was going to have ice cream. And I was like, hell to the no. Now, me and my partner, we did have a little bit of disagreement on how to handle this situation. But through conversation, we both got on the same sheet of music, which was she would get rewarded if she performed. Win, lose, or draw, that is outside of her control because it's a collective sport, and sometimes we don't have control over that. And again, she is 6 years old, so I don't expect her to be the Napoleon leader at this time. But she was going to give it 100%, and we're going to practice outside of practice in order to make sure that she was a valuable player. Now, every single time that we would go out and she would go out and play, after the game, we would have a conversation on how she felt the performance was. And then we would also talk as a group about how the performance was. What went right, what went wrong, and where can she improve. Now, take in mind, at this time, she was 6. But these are the lessons and beliefs that she was getting at this age. Now, imagine the advantages she's going to have over little, it's okay, there's always next time, Timmy over there. Think about it. Now, how can we combat this mentality? First and foremost, we have to approach every opportunity like it's the last time you'll ever get it. I say this aloud. We don't regret what we did. We regret what we didn't. A lot of opportunities come and go in our lives, and we don't realize how much better our life would have turned out if we would have just taken advantage of it. If we would have just gave it our all. If we would have just burned the ships. Now, what are you talking about, doctor? Well, I'm glad you asked. That saying comes from 1519 when a Spanish expedition led by Hernán Cortés landed in Mexico. Now, Cortés knew that his crew was already exhausted from the long sea journey, but he had to find a way to motivate them to get them to succeed in the new land. So he ordered his people to burn the ships that they used to get to the new land. Why? Because now they have nowhere to go. They have no other option but to succeed. And that's the way that we should be approaching every opportunity that comes our way. Second thing we must do, we must surround ourselves with the people that we need, not just the ones that we want. And hello, motherfuckers, I am here for you. There is not a week that goes by that I don't ask myself, with so many other podcasts out there, with so many outlets, with so much media out there, why do I still even do this? Well, if only 2 people listen, that's 2 people I was able to influence, 2 people I was able to help. And if those 2 people help another 2 people and they help another 2 people, at least we're multiplying the message. Back in the day, I will always tell my troops, if you're not here willing to be the best version of yourself and being the best version of you that you can be, you are more than welcome to leave. You are more than welcome to find another squad or another team or whatever echelon I was working on. There's no hard feelings. You are welcome to walk away, because I'm going to push you when you feel like stopping. I'm going to correct you when I know you're wrong. I'm going to see 5 minutes of downtime and we're going to train for 3 of them. I will remove every single doubt that you have about the situation you're about to go in and you're about to face. You will not always like it, but you will appreciate it. And let me tell you something. Kudos to those who stayed around, because that's not an easy life to live. It is not easy having a little motherfucker after you, going at you every single day, making sure that you don't stop. Trust me, everybody wants that person until they have that person. So kudos to them. Lastly is you have to get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations with people. I get it. We all want to be loved. We all want to feel like we have a good circle of friends. We all want to have a community. But at what cost? At what expense? Is it their expense or your expense? Where do you draw the line? Some people are more than okay having their friends blacked out drunk, but when they beat their spouse, that's where they draw the line. It's like, what? Why aren't you stopping the behaviors as you see them from the people that are supposed to be your friends? If you see your community slacking, if you see your friends slacking, be who they need and tell them. You work like old people. Fuck. Not good enough, not fast enough, and no one is getting a nut. Become that friend they need when they need it. Let's wrap this up now, shall we? So what have we learned today? Well, we have learned that I have a little bit too much time in my hands, and doom scrolling can be detrimental, but it can also bring up some good ideas, such as not glorifying quitters, not giving or accepting participation trophies, and we need to be the friends that people need, not always just the ones that they want. We learn to approach all opportunities as they are our last, and your circle can make or break you. And not all conversations are fun, but some of these conversations are needed for the better overall greater good of the group. Now, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you everybody that stays tuned for the whole episode. Hopefully some of y'all got something good out of it. As always, we are on all platforms, all of them. It costs you $0 to share, 0 to like, 0 to engage. And as always, this is Dr. Ramsey, and I am out.